think it's the ideal start to get the event rumble today, huh? So, ladies and gentlemen, this afternoon, two interesting lead topics are waiting for you. First, we start with sustainable mobility planning and public transport systems. And later on, we speak about urban living, planning and building. And every lead topic starts with some impulse talks, which offers you some food for thought and for the following up debates, then at the tables with the speaker of the presented topics. But that's not all. On top of it, we have some further on interesting topics waiting for you to debate. Yeah, what else on the tables? You find some sheets, so please feel invited to write down everything coming up in your mind regarding the topic of the table. And so we have a great collection of all your ideas and thoughts and impulses later on collected from each table here today. And at the end, we will collect all the sheets and display them here all over the room. So feel free then to have also a look at the results of the other tables. Yeah, one last hint, as mentioned earlier, you can take active part in the panel discussion. So that means from now on, there is a Q&A session open for you here in your mobile phone. Just use the tool we used earlier today for the survey. And here you can see the link again. You will need it later on from the panel discussion. But the Q&A session is from now on open, so also doing your work at the tables, feel free to write down all your questions coming up at the tables, and we will bring them into the debate round later on. And there's one special feature here you may like. At the same time, you cannot just write down your own questions. You're also able to read the questions in real lifetime from all the other participants here. And if you find some of them especially interesting for you, just give them a thumbs up and they will be upvoted. And the questions with the highest interest from your side, these will be the questions we will bring here into the debate later on at the panel. So, this is it. Now I would like to introduce to you the chairs of the two lead topics. And the chair of the first topic is Mr. Professor Dr. Michael Frantzen from the TH Köln, the Cologne University of Technology. Welcome. Great to have you with us. Professor Frantzen, before we will start here on stage, thank you very much for joining us here, Ms. Rieke. And here's also the chair for the second lead topic. Let me look around. Ms. Professor Dr. Claudia Bornemeyer from the Rhenish University of Applied Services, Cologne. Welcome also to you. This is the second chair. Thank you very much. Yeah, maybe we start. Ms. Professor Frantzen, I'm interested to learn something about your background because you're the chair of the whole round here now. So first of all, maybe let me just simply ask you, what do you like about your job as a university professor?
Okay. Yes, I have a vehicle background from OEM, and I like to do more mobility now because mobility is much more than just vehicles. And to work together with colleagues like Jochen Siegemund, who is architect, and that is a lot of fun to develop new concepts of mobility together with colleagues from other disciplines. Yeah. Yeah.
And as we have seen, we have a percentage here of master students also together with us in the room. I think 24 or 25% are master students here. So just between us, how does it look like when students are motivated?
Yeah, that is one of my biggest aims, to motivate students, that they are brave, that they come with new ideas, that they are innovative. Like you see this bus on the program a bit better. This is one concept that was developed by our students. And some other concepts you see as results because we have in total 5 startups now.
Yeah.
And if you are interested, you can see them at the booth in the Polis Mobility where we have where we can show them. And if you're interested, you can come and get a brochure about how to find them. And it's a good result to have 5 startups already.
So, Professor Frantzen, the stage is all yours.
Thank you very much. Okay, first of all, I have to apologize, Professor Dr. Maike Jipp. She will be a bit late and therefore in the program a bit later. Therefore, please welcome with me Fabian Schott. Fabian Schott is an expert for electrified city cleaning in Hamburg. Fabian Schott studied environmental engineering and is now working as the assistant to the CEO of City Cleaning Hamburg, Professor Dr. Rüdiger Sischau, correct? And they are responsible for waste logistics, the thermal waste treatment and disposal in Hamburg. They implement the goals set by the Senate of Hamburg. And the aim is to be climate neutral by 2035 latest. And today Mr. Schott will present us the mobile transformation of Hamburg city cleaning towards an electrified city fleet, vehicle fleet. And he will tell us which challenges still resist. Okay, I hand over to you.
Thank you, Professor Frantzen. Thank you. So, hello everybody. I'm glad to be here and to present my presentation titled Clean Drive for a Clean City, City Cleaning Electrified. It was a long drive for me. Yesterday it took 17 hours indeed because of the storm. Yeah. I arrived at 3 a.m. in the morning, but now I'm glad to be here and to give you a short overview about the mobility transformation at Stadtreinigung Hamburg, means the city cleaning service of Hamburg, to a more climate-friendly vehicle fleet. When we talk about clean drive for a clean city, means less air pollutants like CO and particle emissions and nitrogen oxides, but also, of course, less CO2 emissions, less greenhouse gas emissions. And indeed, we have a large vehicle fleet, so please don't, when we talk about mobility transformation, please don't forget the waste management sector. I brought my agenda, so I will start with a short overview about Stadtreinigung Hamburg and waste management at a glance. I will give you an overview about the vehicle fleet at Stadtreinigung. We'll talk about first experiences we had with electric drive, and I will end my speech with a short outlook. I brought this fancy video for you. Here you can see one of the most important key figures of Stadtreinigung Hamburg. We are a public company, and indeed we have more than 4,000 employees in total, 13 subsidiaries. And the most important key figure I marked red. Here it's the number of vehicles. So it's around 1,100, and it's one of the largest vehicle fleets of the public companies in Hamburg. Indeed, if we take also into account other machineries, then it's like 1,300. Yeah, and we are responsible for the collection of waste and treatment of waste from around 1 million households in Hamburg, and we are responsible for around 2 million people. Yeah, and we have a large area, so we are responsible in 755 square kilometers, and you can find us everywhere. Here you can see the areas of responsibility. So indeed, we are not only responsible for the collection of waste, also for the treatment. So we have 2 waste incineration plants, which are running 24/7. And we are also responsible for street cleaning. For this task, we need specific vehicles. Yeah? And also we are doing cleaning in the green areas. Also here we have other requirements. We need other equipment, also other cars. And we have also recycling yards and also the brand Stielbruch. So we are collecting also bulky waste. And this bulky waste should not be burned in a waste incineration. So we bring it to Stielbruch and sell it as a second hand goods. so that it's going back to the cycle. Here on the left side, you can see our subsidiaries. Do I have a pointer? Yeah, genau. Here on the left corner, you can see HICE, so it's the Hamburg Institute for Innovation, Climate Protection and Circular Economy. So interesting for all our students. So our research tasks are concentrated in our HICE company. Yes, very important for us is, of course, the European Clean Vehicles Directive. It gets distinct quotes for public procurements. So it means we are also a public company, we have a high vehicle fleet. So we have to take into account when for new trucks, there's a minimum of 10% which should be electric drive. Yeah? So, but indeed, at the moment, we just have one electric truck and one electric street cleaning truck. So there's indeed a lot to do for us. So what about the politics? Yeah, in 2019, the Hamburg Climate Protection Plan was renewed, and the aims of the Hamburg Climate Protection Plan are a reduction of CO2 emissions by 55% till 2030, and to become climate neutral till 2050. And in the Hamburg Climate Protection Act, these goals were implemented in the Hamburg law. Yeah, so it means we need an energy revolution to achieve this goal. Of course, the coal exit, and the government decided to change this this year. So it's not 2050 anymore. So the public companies have to be climate neutral, according to a CO2 balance, of course, till 2040. So that means we need changes in the mobility for us, for the Stadtreinigung Hamburg, of course. The replacement of fossil fueled vehicles to electric drives is the most important factor. Yeah. So, but we don't look at the year 2040. We said at Stadtreinigung we want to be carbon neutral till 2035. And this goal is based on these 5 solid pillars, which you can see on the picture here. So, of course, the best waste is the waste that doesn't exist. Waste prevention and reuse is important. The most important CO2 emissions, of course, are for us the vehicle fleet and the thermal waste treatment. And today I will just focus on the vehicle fleet. So here I give you a short overview. As I already said, we have around 1,100 vehicles. And the challenge, the city cleaning service, what we have, is that we have a different variety in function. So we have standard vehicles, we have working machines. So we consider our vehicle fleet more than working machines than driving machines. And we have light and heavy commercial vehicles and special vehicles like for bulky waste or for the container treatment and so on. And this is really a big challenge what we have. Here you can see a diagram how the proportion is. And indeed, the most important numbers are the garbage collection trucks and street cleaning vehicles. So they contribute the largest share, but also we have a lot other machinery and equipment, and they contribute nearly a quarter of this. Yeah? And this is a great diversity in function. Yeah? Yeah, here you can see an overview about the application. Indeed, we need machineries for a big variety of tasks. So we have separate household and waste collection. We have bulky waste collection for the cleaning, street cleaning, park cleaning, and also for special operation like bicycle scrap disposal and so on. What they all have in common, so we need electric drives which can operate for at least for minimum 8 hours. Yeah? And they are big working machines, they need a lot of power, and that's the big challenge what we have. So the cost is one factor, but at the end it has to work for a minimum 8 hours. Yeah? It's not like small passenger cars. We have to handle a big amount of waste mass and so on. That's a big challenge what we have. So indeed, we are trying to transform our vehicle fleet to a more electrified vehicle fleet. But indeed, at the moment, we also changed the older diesel trucks to more environmental friendly diesel trucks with a Euro 5 and 6 norm. But indeed, you have to take into account at the moment in the situation the prices for gasoline and for diesel are increasing rapidly. And also you have to take into account that we need for the big trucks, we need the AdBlue. Yeah? And AdBlue, also the prices for the AdBlue are rising rapidly. And it's also possible that maybe one day we have a lack of AdBlue, we don't get it anymore, and then the newest trucks, they cannot drive without AdBlue, and then we cannot transport the waste in Hamburg. That would be a big problem. So that's also a big reason why we need a transformation to a more electrified vehicle fleet. Here you can see a short overview about electric vehicles at Stadtreinigung Hamburg. Indeed, so we have, you can see here the electric waste truck and the electric sweeper. We did test periods with these cars and it was successful, but indeed we just have one electric waste truck and one electric sweeper at the moment. So we hope that we can increase these numbers very fast. We have a higher electrification grade for the smaller vehicles, for passenger cars and so on. So here you can see some detailed information about our tests with a garbage waste electric truck. Indeed, the test period was successful, but the first picture you can see in the right corner here with my boss, Professor Sichau, it is 3 years ago. So it was a long period of development till it was running without problems. So because there are a lot of things we have to consider. And yeah, so it has a load capacity of 10 tons. It's 10% less than a diesel truck has, so we also have to consider this in operation. Yeah, and we calculate each electric truck can avoid 31 tons CO2 per year. So there's a big potential for CO2 reduction at Stadtreinigung Hamburg. When I talk about electrification of our vehicle fleet, I'm not only talking about the big trucks. We also have something like this, cargo bikes. This was done in a research project with the German Aerospace Center, and it was about establishing e-cargo bikes in municipal cleaning companies. Indeed, it was successful, the first tests, and we did a potential analysis, and we conclude that it has ecological and economical advantages when we replace also diesel drives with these cargo bikes. But of course, it has a change in operational, so we cannot do it one by one. So we need different rules for this cargo bikes, and yeah, they are also very suitable for operation in the park areas. As I already mentioned, we are also cleaning in park areas. As you know, during Corona crisis, we had a lot of movement from the young people from the party areas to the parks. Of course they can, but we had also a lot of dirt in the parks after that, and it's very comfortable to have such a cargo bike for this operation also. But that's the reason why we bought also this. This has a high potential for the future. So I think I don't have so much time anymore. Here is one slide about the passenger cars we already have at Stadtreinigung. Indeed, here we have a higher electrification degree, above 60%. And as you can see here on the slide, we also have charging stations at each location of Stadtreinigung Hamburg. So we not only have the cars, we also have an infrastructure at our stations. But of course, it requires a further charging infrastructure in the city also. Okay. I will talk about a short summary and what requirements do we have. So in summary, we can say we did first test operations with the big electric trucks, and they were successful. And the degree of electrification is bigger than 60%, but just for the smaller vehicles and for the passenger cars. We also want to replace the big diesel trucks with electric trucks, but this requires funding. Yeah? So, because we are a public company, we are financed by fees. And I think a diesel truck costs around 250,000 euros. Of course, the number can change, but just to keep this in mind. And a truck with hydrogen drive would be 4 times higher, and an electric truck would be 3 times higher from the costs. And of course, we cannot give this cost to the citizens of Hamburg. So it's also bit funding is necessary for this transformation process. And of course, we have to optimize also the technical requirements. So a fast charge capability, of course, for the electric sweepers and so on. So further development is necessary. Okay, this is my last slide. I would end with this slide. So, of course, we have also waste treatment plants, and waste to energy is also a big topic in my company. So with the electricity from the waste incineration, with renewable energy, and we also have a biogas treatment plant, a bio-waste treatment plant. We can produce hydrogen out of this energy, which is then could be used to load hydrogen drive, and this could also replace a lot of diesel fuel. Okay, I would end my speech. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Schott. Thank you very much. Do you think it's realistic to become climate neutral by 2035?
Well, it's a big challenge. Of course, that's a big challenge. At the actual situation, it would be a bit difficult, as I mentioned, so because it requires also funding. But it is indeed possible from our point of view. We have to replace the diesel trucks into an electrified vehicle fleet. And for example, when we look at our waste incineration plants, when we implement something like CCU, so carbon capture and utilization, or carbon capture and storage, then it is indeed possible to get a carbon neutral CO2 balance.
Thank you very much. Let's now welcome Dr. Nicolas Hautière. He's assimilated with professor at the Université Gustave Eiffel. His main research focus is smart roads and their ability to cope with societal challenges. His research is about a fifth road generation called R5G flagship program, which aims at developing full-scale demonstrators of the next road generation, considering all existing and coming tasks. His academic background is computer vision, in particular in adverse weather conditions. His topic today is smart roads as a strategic issue for tomorrow's cities. Welcome.
Hi everyone, I'm very glad to be here with you. Ich freue mich hier zu sein. Ich kann nicht flüssig Deutsch sprechen, aber ich habe viel Deutsch gelernt. Okay, so I will switch to English to be more fluent. Okay, so let's talk about city and roads and motorway or freeways. In fact, you may know that big proportion of increasing proportion of people are living in metropolis, and it causes lots of issues like biodiversity loss, heat island effects, and so on. Noise, air pollution, and so on. Classical freeway design, which was in the past considered as a good solution to increase the connectivity between people in the city, is considered today as a problem because it is a source of what is called in French autosolism, so people that are single in their car, and also a source of urban sprawl. So as a consequence, ICE cars or classical cars are progressively banned from city hearts, and transform different projects are carried out to reduce the accessibility of city huts by cars. And the consequence of that is that it creates lots of social conflicts between people living in the heart of the city and people living in the outside of the city, in the suburbs. Okay? So because these people depend on their car to go to work. So here you have here a map of Paris area. Okay, so the lighter the picture, the smallest distance people are traveling every day to go to work. So here is Paris, and here is the region of Paris. So you can see that people here are depending on the car to go to Paris to work. Okay, and these people are not very happy when there is a traffic banning. Okay, so this was just for the introduction of the problem, and what is in fact, if we try to present or to problematize the issue, is that is it possible to design a new generation of roads which are able to ease the development of livable smart cities while offering fair access to all citizens, okay? So this was the picture of roads of the old motorway, so increase the connectivity between the suburb and the city, and here is the political dream today. So we have a public heritage, which is a set of huge motorway built in the 70s. What do we do with this public common heritage? That's the issue. Okay? So at the same moment, societal issues are still growing. We have more and more issues. So here is a list. I won't read all the list, but okay, urban air pollution, for example, is a great issue. So what is today the solution seen by, for example, European Commission or public transportation agencies? So the solution is that we have to travel differently, okay? So we could use connected and automated cars or mobility solutions like shuttles. We could have electric cars, we could have carpooling offers, shared mobility fleets, or we could combine all the solutions and install multimodal solutions like mass mobility as a service into the cities so as to still keep the accessibility of cities. But the question, all these solutions needs dedicated infrastructure, okay? So this is our current our program, in fact, developing the 5th generation road, in fact, a road infrastructure that takes the best solution of existing, that takes the best opportunities of existing technology and the best of those to come, so as to have a lean process of innovation in infrastructure. Why? Because if you tell me how you travel tomorrow, I will be able to design the infrastructure that you need tomorrow. Okay? If we look at the past, just taking the 20th century, we built the motorway to allow motor vehicle to travel. So if we travel differently, we don't need motorway, but what do we need? Okay? That's our program that we developed since 10 years in line with a European project named Forever Open Road, which is also carried out here in Cologne with our colleague from BAST in Bergisch Gladbach. Yeah? Okay, so our program is what? We try to integrate the different components of solutions from the Forever Open Road program, following a systemic approach to design and build full-scale demonstrator of the next generation of roads. So some results, some key results, we have convinced civil engineering companies, major companies like Total or FH company, to develop more systemic development like the High Street project. So for example, to encourage bicycling, we develop photoluminescent painting to light public bicycle lane and increase the development of bicycle. Second, a roadmap to, in fact, align the development of infrastructure readiness level towards the automation of vehicle. Or in terms of energy, we try to build energy efficient roads and streets. So what it means is that roads that are able to harvest, to use, to store, or to deliver energy to the building or the user of streets, like a car. So I try to go fast on that, but we try to go from the classical design of freeways. So in French, the VIC model is a interaction between vehicle, driver, and environment model, which explain what you have this big motorway, because you consider, in fact, an old car with slick tires, with blind driver on the motorway, and you have to show that the design of your motorway is able to stop the car in safety. So you take big measures. So if you have ubiquitous information, if you have energy at disposal, clean energy, in fact, it allows you to design the roads differently. Okay, that's the concept. And then we have to go to, we deploy this model in the cities, and I will try to, there's how many times? 3 minutes? 2 minutes? Okay, I will try to explain you. At the moment, it was a concept, in fact, and we have the demand of different metropolis. So the request for intervention of the congestion or urban boulevard to develop new mobility solutions, or what we call positive health streets. Okay, and we have just present you 4 business model or 4 business case for the next generation of roads. We have urban networks that can be transformed, like thanks to the changing of public lighting. This is a clear business model to change the design of the streets. We have the peri-urban networks, so big motorways, city motorways, where we can transform additional lanes to welcome public coaches, okay, and next public shuttles, okay, so as to increase. And we have the public money to do that, because the companies are paying for that. Of course, if we live more in cities, we have to eat, and so we have to be delivered with goods, public goods. So we have also to improve the long-distance networks, and we are working on truck platooning, for example, or electrification of trucks on motorways. And for peri-urban networks, we are working on autonomous shuttles. I don't have I don't know if it works. Yes, just 50 seconds. You see what we do, for example, in the Pyrenees or in the Alps, in abandoned railway infrastructure. In fact, we are working, for example, to install autonomous vehicles, so road vehicles can be put on this abandoned railway, so as to develop new mobility services. Okay. Okay, so I will try to conclude rapidly. So roads and mobility of the heart of our society. We have the issues to solve urban mobility at the metropolitan scale, and it requires a transformation of road infrastructure. This new generation of roads have to be adaptable, automated, and resilient. We have to, our project aimed at developing and demonstrating a demonstrator of different solutions, and different territories are working in France along these directions. I would like to stress that in the interurban environment, the next challenge now is to rethink the relationship between motorways and territories, and to propose a close approach between town and country, allowing the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals. Thank you for your attention.
Merci beaucoup, Monsieur Hautière. What is next after R5G?
It would be, in fact, it's related to my last sentence. It would be road of the Anthropocene era. In fact, so a road that is able to store CO2, a road that is able to monitor and increase and protect biodiversity and so on.
Thank you very much.